Zandvoort in the Netherlands plays host to the third round of the 2014 Blancpain Sprint Series. The undulating circuit just on the coast outside of Amsterdam is a real old-school racers circuit, much like the previous track we were at, Brands Hatch, where we had a fantastic weekend of racing. It was the Grasser Racing Lamborghini of Harry Prochik on pole position, and he held the lead going into the first corner despite the attentions of Max Buch in the HTP Mercedes behind. Matej Stumpf managed to go around the outside of his BMW Team Brazil teammate and up into third position. A great start from him as the BMWs were looking strong. Max Buch was going to put the race-leading Lamborghini under all sorts of pressure, but there was chaos up at Druids. A collision between Stef Dusseldorp and Stefan Racina forced the Mercedes out of the race. This was Zanardi's view of the incident. He dived through on the inside to take two positions. Aman Ibrahim was sent spinning, possibly through contact with David Fuminelli, who would then lose out to his teammate Zanardi. Zanardi was fighting back, having had to start right at the back of the grid, and he was making up positions left, right and centre. Racina and Nicky Melnhoff then ended up in the gravel trap, both of them ending their races. But the pressure up front was building on Harry Prochik. The pit stop windows came, Max Buch got out and handed over to Max Goetz in the chasing Mercedes, but Jeroen Bleekemolen was still in the lead of the race. Valdeno Brito was briefly second in the BMW Team Brazil car, but he later had to serve a drive-through penalty. Caca Bueno and Sergio Jimenez then ultimately emerged into what would be third position, right behind the Mercedes of Max Goetz. There was a disaster for the Bitec racing team. The McLarens performing much stronger in Brands Hatch, but Fabio Annidi and Giorgio Pantano's race was ended by losing a left rear wheel. But the race win was taken by Harry Prochik and Jeroen Bleekemolen. A wonderful performance for the small Grasser Racing team from Austria. They were over the moon with their victory, and it moved them up into second place in the championship. Caca Bueno and Sergio Jimenez took BMW Team Brazil's first podium of the season. Buch and Goetz still lead the championship, but it was all about the Grasser Racing team at Brands. In Nogaro at the opening round, Stefan Rotelli was joined in the number 3 car by Gregory Gilbert. They had a strong weekend, but that meant that Brands Hatch was Roman Rusinov's first appearance of the season in the Blancpain Sprint Series. The weekend, though, didn't go quite according to plan. Problems in the first race set them back, and Rusinov is confident they can get back towards the front of the order here in Zandvoort.
Yeah, I think, Brands Hatch, we had a crash in the beginning of the first race, so then for the start of the second race, so it's quite difficult. So here we have a P4 on the pre-practice. I hope the Audi will be good on this track. The car is fast, and I hope we can do a good result.
It was a stunning weekend in Brands Hatch for Jeroen Bleekemolen and Harry Prochik. A win in the qualifying race and a win in the main race as well. And if that wasn't ominous enough for their opposition, they're coming into Jeroen Bleekemolen's home race, somewhere he has an awful lot of experience and should be very strong.
The competition is always fantastic, but also very hard. But of course, coming off a weekend like that, going into this track, my home track, it's a good sign for sure. I have a lot of experience here. I've raced here so many times, and I've been successful many times here as well. So yeah, hopefully it'll help a bit. It's a tough track, very challenging, and it should be a really good track for us.
After a torrid opening round of the season, Bitec were back on form in Brands Hatch. Fabio Annidi and Giorgio Pantano had a stunning first race and then were robbed of a good points finish in race 2 after losing their left rear wheel. Meanwhile, Sten Pentus and Daniel Lloyd continued their learning process in the sister car.
I raced here before 2004, so it's 10 years ago in Formula BMW. I didn't remember that how bumpy it really is. If you make a mistake, you are just destroying the car. There's no many safety areas, so I enjoy. I really like the circuit. I'm not aiming the position. As long as it's step forward, I'm happy.
Max Buch and Max Goetz still lead the championship for HTP, but it was the sister car that was victorious here last year. Sergei Afanasiev and Andreas Simonsen were teammates then. This year, Afanasiev's teammate is local hero Stef Dusseldorp. He hasn't raced at the circuit for a while, but he hopes that won't hinder his chances.
It's my home race, but the last time I've driven here was in the Zandvoort Masters in 2010. I think last year the team did really well. They won even the main race. Race pace should be very good. I've got a lot of support from all the Dutch people. I've got some sponsors, family, friends coming on Sunday, so I hope to give them a nice podium at the end.
With Andrea Montemini away on other racing duties this weekend, Philippe Salaquada will be joined by Italian Alessandro Balzan in the Scuderia Villorba Corsa car. The two only met this weekend, so it'll be interesting to see how their relationship develops as Balzan makes his Blancpain Sprint Series debut.
I'm really proud to be here. It's a great weekend. Let's take a walk in the middle of the paddock with all the guys and the other competitors, staff and drivers. The track is not perfect for our cars, but we have quite a lot of room where we can improve. So I'm thinking I will be happy with my top 5 finish. I'm happy to be here and proud that Scuderia Villorba give me this chance.
German outfit Tonino Team Herbert make their Blancpain Sprint Series debut with a Porsche 997. They've got a German driver, Robert Renauer, but also a Dutchman. Jaap van Lagen is an experienced racer in both Porsche Super Cup and the German Porsche Carrera Cup, and has already won a GT race here this season, so he's confident about the weekend to come.
I'm really looking forward because it's my home track. Many people will come for the Dutch drivers, of course. My first time in this Blancpain series, so yeah, it's really good to be here, and hopefully we can put a good result on this track.
Another new entrant for the rest of the season is the BMW Sports Trophy Team Schubert squad with a BMW Z4. Youngster Thomas Jaeger will be experiencing his first ever GT race this weekend, so it'll be a steep learning curve for the Austrian. And alongside him is young but experienced racer Dominic Baumann. He's making his return to the series, having raced with Grasser last year.
From my experience last year, I know it is a great championship, and we tried to do the Silver Cup, but now I'm gold categorization. It's a little bit bad, but that's how it is, and now we decided to come back with a new team, and yeah, it's nice to be back, and we will see how it works in the races.
Despite being away from home during the World Cup, the Brazilians have still brought some football flair to Zandvoort. It's a damp-ish track that greets the drivers ahead of the qualifying race here in Zandvoort, and the Blancpain Sprint Series is about to get underway. The track, as I say, drying. It's you can see there from that camera angle, certain parts of the circuit are still pretty wet, certain parts are pretty dry. The temperature is just 19.6 degrees, a patch on what we had yesterday where we had absolutely scorching conditions. So it's the Dutchman Jeroen Bleekemolen on pole position in his Lamborghini. Alongside him, the Belgian Laurens Vanthoor. Then we have another Dutchman, Peter Cox, will start third in his Lamborghini. René Rast alongside him. So 2 Lamborghinis and 2 Audis on the front 2 rows. Then we have the first Mercedes, Maximilian Buch alongside him. The best qualifying performance so far this season for Scuderia Villorba Corsa. It'll be Alessandro Balzan starting that car. Winkelhock and Jimenez will line up in 7th and 8th position, followed by Basseng and Piquet Jr. Piquet Jr. making his return to the series, having missed Brands Hatch. In 11th place, Jaap van Lagen driving the Porsche, the new entry for this weekend, and then Thomas Jaeger alongside him. Vincent Abril was disappointed to only qualify down in 13th place. He's just in front of Stefano Colombo. Stefan Landman there in 15th. Steph Dusseldorp down in 16th position in the car that won here last year. Daniel Lloyd out-qualified Giorgio Pantano, but the McLaren's off the pace. Through the final corner come the cars, waiting for the lights to go out here. It's the third round of the season in the Blancpain Sprint Series. When all the cars are on the straight, the red lights will go out and we'll be racing. There we go! Your own Blancpain on pole position, floors the throttle, and it's a good start as well from René Rast behind, trying to find a way through in the Audi. In fact, he's managed to find a way to the inside. There's contact! Off goes one of the BMW Team Brazil cars. That's Sergio Jimenez. He keeps it all together just about, but it's your own Blancpain who holds the lead of the race. Still side by side between the Audis. René Rast looks to the inside, but Vanthoor holds it around the outside. So Vanthoor in second place, Rast in third, Peter Cox fourth, fifth for Max Buch, and sixth for the Ferrari as they all squeeze around the Hugenholtz hairpin and head out towards the dunes.
No prisoners taken whatsoever between Vanthoor and René Rast, and then Mustang looking to come up the inside. But again, this is the problem around Zandvoort. All these corners, long, fast, flowing corners, prevent anybody getting a really clean opportunity to get alongside and take the corner away. Have to wait until they come out of what would be turn 11 to have that run down into the first of the major chicanes at turn 11 and 12.
Thomas Jaeger's made a good start in his first ever GT race. He's gone from 12th up into 9th position, so that's good work from him. As the cars now weave through the left-hander of turn 10. There's Jaap van Lagen in the 21 Team Herbert Porsche. Oh, and run wide there is Peter Cox, and that's going to lose him places. He already loses to the Mercedes, and now here comes the Ferrari trying to go around the outside on the way down into the chicane, and he goes through. So an uncharacteristic moment there for Peter Cox.
We just caught the end of that moment. I don't know whether Peter Cox either was compromised or got tagged coming through turn 10, but clearly he lost ground, and that offered up opportunities for the Ferrari to drive down the inside. Alessandro Belsa in his first run in this car doing a very impressive job.
So there is Peter Cox as they come out onto the start-finish straight to complete the first lap of racing. Blancpain leads the way, 0.6 of a second clear ahead of Laurens Vanthoor. In third place, it's René Rast. Here's a look towards the inside from Thomas Jaeger. There's going to be a touch there, surely. No, just about. Stump sees him coming, holds the outside line. But Jaeger might still be able to make the move stick because he'll have the inside line for the third corner, and that is good work from the young Austrian. He makes his way past the 30 car, which actually has Nelson Piquet Jr. at the wheel, my apologies, but Jaeger takes the place.
Yes, I mean, positive driving. Both drivers gave one another sufficient working room, but Thomas Jaeger was the driver who was more forceful, and he got track position finally after 3 corners at the end of the straight, and is now pulling, well, marginally ahead of the Brazilian BMW. There is the damaged other car. We saw that contact at the start, coming down into turn 1, contact with the Ferrari, and the right front of the BMW tyre is down. Maybe some bodywork damage as well.
Yep, that is a real shame for the car that picked up its first podium last time out at Brands Hatch.
As we see, finally, Stefano Telli gets up and alongside the Mercedes-Benz. Can he hold the position? He's just about, yes, he's got it. He just was on the right position of the racetrack to dive down the inside and control the corner. And finally, Otelli has cleared the Mercedes of Miguel Toro. Yeah.
The contact between the BMW and the Ferrari at the start is under investigation. And, well, let's have a look at it. Here's the replay of the start. It's that yellow BMW there that's on the right-hand side of shot. It gets to the outside, and then is the Ferrari just going to come across?
I think the Ferrari was totally unsighted. The BMW was literally in the blind spot of the mirrors of the Ferrari. The BMW is coming back into the pits. Something is not right with it. We did notice that the bonnet on the right-hand side wasn't fully back in its position, but I think there's probably more damage to the right front of the BMW than we maybe realised.
As into the pits comes the Roll BMW of Stefano Colombo. So that's certainly an unscheduled pit stop, but that makes more sense with it. Dominic Baumann at the wheel. Oh, he's been in the gravel trap. Look at the left rear, and whoa, here he goes.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. That's got to be a left rear of some description.
On board with your own Blancpain, the race leader, as meanwhile Stefan Ortelli goes for a pass on Vincent Abril, and Abril won't fight him too hard, and Ortelli takes 15th position away. Next on his list is Giorgio Pantano. Teams are getting ready in the pits with wet tyres. At the moment, it looks like it's sort of just in case, but you can see a few drops of rain actually on the camera lens down there.
Yeah, and looking skyward as we did a minute or so ago, we saw that big black cloud drifting the direction of the circuit from the Harry Lyondike curve. Again, look at this, just Steph Dusseldorf all over the back of Mark Bessing. This battle, the Porsche really holding up the Audi and the Mercedes, and it's up to Dusseldorf. He's got the best opportunity now to get a run down into the very tight sort of right-left chicane down at the bottom of the circuit. The Hans Ernst Bocht. Porsche's got good traction primarily, good acceleration. And again, you see Bassang struggling. Now Steph Dusseldorf got very close. The mirror, the wipers are now on, and Bassang's car, so you can just begin to see a sheen on the circuit. So the penultimate corner is actually quite slick. And the Audi got caught right, and Dusseldorf is going to go through.
Yep, into the final corner. Dusseldorf finds the inside line, but they're having to creep around there now as they come down the start-finish straight. Look at the rain on the camera lens as they come flashing under over the start-finish straight.
Where are they? I've lost them.
They're in there somewhere, John. Dusseldorf still has the inside line, but trying to get the car stopped in these treacherous conditions is going to be a real challenge. And Dusseldorf goes through then. He takes 11th place away from Mark Bassang. 40 minutes to go, still 10 minutes until the pit stop window opens, and that is Winkelhock who's got past Peter Cox. So Winkelhock is up into 6th place now, past Peter Cox, the Dutchman, and Winkelhock is very, very happy in these conditions. He's about to have the Ferrari as well, up to the inside on the exit of Skyflock, and Winkelhock is starting to fly.
There are just some drivers who've got an intuitiveness in driving in these pretty unpleasant conditions. Every corner you come to, you don't know what you're going to get.
So Peter Cox, we've seen, has got back past the Ferrari, and all this has allowed Dominic Baumann into the party as well. So Baumann in that Schubert BMW getting really good traction out of the Hugenholz corner, and he's going to breeze past him. They're side by side through the most tricky section of the circuit, and that is good stuff from Dominic Baumann. The Austrian goes through, and that is now 7th place for him, and in the gravel, it was Markus Winkelhock. So Markus Winkelhock, we were saying how confident and strong he was looking. Will that now surely deploy a safety car?
It may be a safety car. Certainly will be a waved yellow flag up the Skyflock corner, which is an unsighted corner, and you can see what happened. He just came in a little bit too quick, and he is stuck.
The safety car has been deployed here at Zandvoort. So Bleekemolen is going really slowly, essentially so that he can get into the pits when the pit stop window opens.
Well,
and this
21 seconds from the Array-Lyondike curve to the pit lane. He's got to almost come to a standstill. In fact, he might be advised to stop for 5 or 10 seconds, and the team will be counting him down. So he would...
Is this okay, John? Is this okay to crawl around the track like this?
There's nothing in the regulations. This window is open. He can come into the pit lane and make his pit stop. So the team have done a very good job in telling him what to do. The gap you can see now between first and second is just the gap between 3-4 car lengths, and it'll be a battle in the pit lane between the crews with the driver change, the wheel and tyre change, and there will be clearly a change from slick tyres onto the full wet tyre. There's the Lamborghini being jacked up, and in gets Harry Project. Jerome Bleekemolen has done a truly blinding job in very blinding conditions, to be honest. The last 2 or 3 laps conditions were as atrocious as you could ever wish to get.
So into the pits they all come, and now it is, as you say, John, just a simple pit stop race. That's all it comes down to. Who will get out quickest? See, look at that. Project has to wait for the cars coming in.
He's okay,
and he just about gets out of it, but who's going to come out in front of him? That's the biggest question. Here comes Project. Is he going to hold on to the lead of the race? Yes, he is, just about. WRT all the way back there. That's worked out well for Grasser Lamborghini. In second place, look, here comes the Mercedes. Max Buch and Max Goetz jump up into second place. It's third position for Peter Cox and Stefan Racina. Fourth place for Enzo Eid now in the car he's taken over from Rene Rast. So what happened to Laurens Vanthoor and Cesar Ramos in all of that? They're still in the pit lane. They must have had a problem, and they have dropped right back down the order. There they are coming out now. That's a catastrophe for the number 1 WRT car.
Well, you didn't get to see why they lost so much time in the pit lane, and we can see that it's chaos because, quite simply, the entire field have all come in at one time, and I don't know whether they've had to back up one or other of the team cars. It may be simply there just wasn't the opportunity to do 2 cars at the same time. But how there was a switch around because the Vanthoor car was ahead of the Rene Rast car, and it came out ahead with Enzo Eid in the in effect now be second, and for the Laurens Vanthoor car with Cesar Ramos, well, they're going to be very much towards the tail of the field.
But now we're going to have the situation where there's this field of cars running around, and the safety car has got to pick them up. Well, the safety car will be coming in this lap, but where even is the safety car related to the cars on track? Because the safety car couldn't just wait at the exit of the pit lane to pick up the first car to come out of the pit lane. And here's Winkelhock. So
yeah, he was running around the outside of the corner, looking for grip and just found the white line. And once you hit the white line, the painted white line, extremely slippery in wet weather conditions, and the back end of the car just broke away, and it just dragged him literally into the gravel, buried the rear of the car, and that was it all over for Martin McLaren.
As the race, in theory, gets back underway. Yeah, there's the safety car. In it pulls, and away we go. And look at that immediately. Stefan Rosina is on the attack, trying to get past Max Coates as they come down towards the first corner. He's got the inside line. They almost touch a little bit. Now, where on earth do you brake for Tarzan? That's the big question. They've all just about made it through. Harry Procek in the lead of the race. The challenge is still going for second place. They were going side by side out of Tarzan, and Gotts is trying to get back up past Rosina, but Rosina holds second position. Gotts in third. Fourth now for Cesar Ramos. It's fifth for Felipe Salaquada. Sixth place. It's side by side between Thomas Jaeger and Matthias Stumpf, and Jaeger goes through. Nicely done, the young Austrian.
Yeah, very impressive driver. Just used again. Good bite and traction off the Tarzan hairpin. But this is the battle really, watching Rosina and Max Coates. They're going at it hammer and tong as they come up into Sky Flock. And Rosina running the wide way round the corner. Coates right on the tail, almost the front of the Mercedes, touching the back. Looks up the inside into turn 10. Gets up inside, but can he maintain it? Because the momentum is still with the Lamborghini, but the Mercedes has got track position as they go into turn 11, and that's ultimately going to be the key to this battle for second place.
Really good fight between Gotts and Rosina. This is the battle, though, as Stumpf desperately tries to pass Baumann.
The difficulty he has is actually seeing where he is. He's having to look out of the windows on either side, not really through the windscreen, just to get his braking reference points. And of course, into Tarzan, it's fairly wide, the entrance, so you can go high and you can stay high. And in effect, that's what he's been trying to do with Thomas Jaeger all the way from the Tarzan hairpin. We saw Jaeger being very effective on the exit coming out of Hugenholz. Now it's the other way around. He's found himself slightly compromised on the run up the hill through the right-hand curve, side by side, then back to the left. So the Brazilian BMW, but can Jaeger? No, he's been cut off deliberately. And that was a fairly forceful move, but a fair move. There was ample room given, and Thomas Jaeger just had to get out of the throttle a little bit earlier.
As they flash now through the S's, through the dunes, up towards Skyflock, and they've both closed in now on Matthias Stumpf again. So the gap's really ebbing and flowing all over the place, because Stumpf a minute ago was right on the back of the Ferrari, and now he's under all sorts of pressure from the BMW behind. So Stumpf in that yellow BMW Team Brazil car is under a lot of pressure, and here's a look up the inside. That's just...
Oh, he tags him. He tags the back of the... So the Brazil's Stumpf has been tagged at the back by Thomas Jaeger, and there it is.
And I think Cesar Ramos came through to take both of them. He looks to the inside line. Jaeger holds it all the way around the outside, keeps the grip there and holds the place. But good spot there, John. This is Stefan Rosina and Enzo Ede that is going side by side here. Enzo Ede has just taken third place away from Stefan Rosina. It's so difficult to tell in all this rain that's coming down, and the safety car has been deployed. They have decided to scramble the safety car, presumably because of these conditions. And the rain has, well, it's eased off actually briefly now for the moment.
I mean, if you look down the straight, I mean, that's looking up towards Zandvoort town. You can actually see some of the high-rise buildings there. So it is actually improving. The safety car might have been maybe more beneficially deployed a lap or maybe 2 laps earlier at the point when it came down at its heaviest. Big shot, Ferrari.
And that may be why the safety car's deployed, because in the gravel trap is Stefan Rosina and Felipe Salaquada. The two appear to have come together because there's front right damage on the Ferrari. So these are the standings behind the safety car then. Procek leading, got second, Edes third, Ramos fourth. Fifth place for Thomas Jaeger in the 76 Schubert BMW. That's really, really good news for them. So safety car in this lap.
But look how close, look how close.
Now, is he slowing down so that he only has 1 lap to go, Harry Procek? Potentially, he's trying to get across the line to start the final lap when he comes through, and I think he might pull it off. This is going to be very tight, but he hasn't got a very good restart. Here comes Max Coates. He looks to the inside line as they come across the line with 2 minutes to go. We've got 1 or 2 laps left here in Zandvoort. We'll wait for official confirmation, but Harry Procek leads the way. Max Coates is right with him. Laurens Vanthoor is trying to go around the outside. Cesar Ramos is trying to go around the outside of Enzo Ede for third position, and he does it at Tarzan. Beautiful maneuver. Ede drops to fourth. Fifth place is Thomas Jaeger. Sixth now is Alessandro Latifi. He's got past the Brazilian BMW, but how So many questions. Is this the final lap of the race? Is the sort of main one?
Well, we don't know. We're waiting to see, but no indication that this is the last. They came across the start-finish line literally with 2 minutes remaining, and they ought to be able to complete a lap within that 2 minutes.
Yeah, because it's not raining as hard as
It's
it was
not raining,
before,
but
yeah.
it's going to be something like a 1 minute 57 or 1:58. It could be a 2 minute lap, depending how quickly Harry Project brings the car out onto that straight. So it's a great pressure on the Austrian driver right now, with Max Goetz all over the back.
Really close behind him. Here we go then, and Max Goetz in the Mercedes that's leading the championship, desperate to try and find a way past the Austrian leading the race, which is Harry Project for the Grasser Racing team. Here they come, down towards the chicane. Not close enough yet, Max Goetz, as they come into the right-hander, but Project knows he has got to defend for all he's worth, and has he gone wide then? Not quite, I thought he had.
He took the defensive line, but in doing so he almost put himself into jeopardy, and that almost gave an opportunity for Maximilian Goetz to put the pressure, but he didn't manage to do anything. Now all he can hope for is a good exit out of the second of these two right-hand corners onto the pit straight. But 17 seconds, we're going to have one more lap in my view.
Yeah.
As we come across, and there the gap is around about 0.6, 0.7 of a second. 8, 7, so we've got one more lap of pressure and torture on Jerome Blancpain.
But Project's doing a good job. He's got 0.8 of a second as he comes around Tarzan corner. As they come through the left hand, and in the gravel trap, that's Matthias Stumpf. He's off at Tarzan. There's damage on the front of the car, but we think that might have already been there. Through turn 9, down into the tight right-hander of turn 10. That's almost a hairpin, and look how close Max Goetz gets through that corner. Really strong through there. He swings it wide into turn 10 to try and get the cut back. He's not going to be, he is pretty close actually, and they almost touch there, absolutely nose to bumper as they come down to the chicane. Goetz on the outside. Project gets the car stopped in time. Only one corner for Max Goetz to do it. I don't think he'll be able to though. It's not really an overtaking opportunity. Harry Project looks to hold on. The nerves are unbelievable in the Grasser Racing garage, but through the Harry Lyndijk corner they come, and it is going to be the win for Harry Project and Jeroen Bleekemolen here in Zandvoort. They win the qualifying race. It's second place for Max Goetz, it's third for Cesar Ramos, fourth for Enzo Eid, fifth for Thomas Jaeger. Brilliant performance from him. Seventh across the line. We'll wait and see. It should be Sten Pentus, and it is Sten Pentus. But there's Jeroen Bleekemolen, another win at his home circuit. But that may well have been one of the most tense. We can now hear from Jeroen Bleekemolen. He's with John Watson.
Jerome, congratulations. What a tense 1 hour that's been.
Oh yeah, it was so tight with the going green again, but Harry did a great job. He was very fast in the rain, and he'd never been here in the wet, so hats off to him. He did a great job today. I had a really good first stint as well. Unfortunately, my gap was done by the safety car, but it's great to win again.
Well, you had to drive on a saturated track on wet weather tires, dry weather tires, but you also cleverly judged the point at which you came in to make your mandatory pit stop for tires. It looked like you actually slowed down deliberately to avoid doing an extra lap.
Yeah, I knew I was crossing the line with 2:20 to go, 2 minutes 20 seconds. So I knew I had to do a 2:20 lap time, and I had to slow down a little bit in the last corner. But we made it, and we even still had a gap to the rest. So it was the perfect way to go.
So how much were the pits guiding you in, or were you just doing it freehand?
I was doing it myself, but then the last 10 seconds they counted down for me, so that helped a little bit.
Anyway, congratulations. We're doing a Harry Project to come back. Superb drive by both you.
Here's the results of the qualifying race here at Zandvoort. Harry Project and Jeroen Bleekemolen winning by only 0.4 of a second ahead of Max Buch and Max Goetz. Cesar Ramos and Laurens Vanthoor saved their own day, really, because a really slow pit stop put them down in 8th, but Ramos hauled them back up into 3rd position. Enzo Eid 4th, Baumann and Jaeger in 5th position. And then Renauer and Jaap van Lager finishing in 6th place. Nice to see the Porsche finishing so high up. Same can be said as well of Sten Pentus and Daniel Lloyd. Huub Doubelman, president of the KNAF, hands the trophies though to the winners, Harry Prochik and Jeroen Bleekemolen, taking victory. The third round of the Blancpain GT Sprint Series is about to get underway. It's going to be the main race here at Zandvoort, and what a race it is set to be. Here's a look at the grid. Pole position will be Harry Prochik, alongside him Max Goetz, the two cars battling for the lead of the championship. Second row is all WRT, Cesar Ramos alongside him, Enzo Eid with their best performance of the season so far, starting in fourth position. Dominic Baumann is in fifth place, sixth place for Robert Renauer in the Porsche. Then we've got Sten Pentus, great performance from him, and also Sasha Halleck. That's the highest up Sasha Halleck has started in the second Grasser Racing Lamborghini. Roman Rusinov will start in ninth, ahead of Alessandro Latifi, the Pro-Am winner from yesterday. And in 11th spot, Mateusz Lizowski and Mateusz Stumpf. Then on the next row of the grid, Fabio Anidi and Aman Ibrahim. Anidi and Pantano struggling in the wet conditions yesterday. David Fuminelli there in 15th place, and then we have Stefan Rosina in 16th after contact yesterday. Also, we have, we won't have Salaquada starting the race, unfortunately. Nikimer Melnov will be there instead, and also we won't have Sergei Afanasiev. He won't be there either, so just 18 cars starting. Caca Bueno, the last of them. Pole position for Harry Prochik in the Grasser Racing Lamborghini. He'll have the inside line for turn one. Alongside him on the front row is Max Goetz in the Mercedes. The two championship battlers are about to duel it out again, coming down towards the first corner as we go green here at Zandvoort. It's a good start from Prochik. It's also a good start from Thomas Jaeger further back in the BMW. He pulls to the inside line. Robert Renauer, oh, we've got three cars off in the middle of the pack, and that is a bad way to start this race. One of them is Stefan Rosina, the other is Fabio Anidi, the other, I think, is Mateusz Lizowski in the WRT Audi, but we'll wait for confirmation. And there's a look up the inside from Enzo Eid, trying to force his way past Max Goetz, but he's not close enough to get past. Up into fourth place then has gone Robert Renauer. A terrible start for Cesar Ramos, but the safety car is deployed.
Yeah, I mean, a contact again at the back of the field. We saw this yesterday, and up one car in the barrier there is one of the two McLarens that was knocked, and that's Anidi in the car. He steps out, he's fine.
So, safety car conditions after a dramatic start. Now let's see, it'll be sort of in the middle of the pack here. Let's try and, actually it's going to be towards the back. It's those two cars on the left-hand side. There's the McLaren coming through. There's Stefan Rosina coming through. Rosina's well over on the right-hand side.
Oh, the bit you could see. Big.
The Roman Rusinov sort of loses it. Maybe there was contact, but he seemed to sort of lose it in a straight line and just violently turn left and pile into the other cars.
Yeah, I mean, that's difficult to tell right now what was the cause of that, but you can see the Audi suddenly a very aggressive, almost turn sharp left, contact with the McLaren.
Into the pits comes Stefan Rosina, so he did take a bit of a wild ride through the grass, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's picked up a bit of damage in that ride to Lamborghini, and I suppose if they're under safety car conditions, he's not actually going to lose out too much to just come in. Well, the safety car will be in this lap, though.
Yeah, I mean, those damage you see, that right rear looks as if whether there's a puncture or whether there's just slight bodywork damage.
Looking around, still there aren't too many clouds around. The sun's coming out. It's a pretty nice day, even though you can see in the background there the clouds are a little darker, but yeah, I think there's no point predicting weather around here, is there?
I mean, the weather's going to be dictated to principally by the wind, which is a very strong wind, probably stronger than it was yesterday, blowing again, following the cars down the straight into Tarzan Hairpin. So the wind, if it's going to come, and the rain, if it's going to come, any prospect is going to come more or less from the northwest. And at the minute, it looks fair, and hopefully we're going to get a clean restart as the safety car peels off and Harry Prochik brings it into control.
Harry Prochik floors the throttle coming through the final corner here at Zandvoort. The safety car pulls in, and we're racing once again after that first lap incident. Prochik leads the way. Max Goetz is right with him though as they come over the start line. This is going to be close, only 0.2 of a second between them on the way down to Tarzan. He's late on the brakes and holds the lead for the time being, but Max Goetz is going to be really on a mission. No other movement towards the front of the order. Mateusz Stumpf still running there he was in 8th place and he's still in 8th place, and he's got Sasha Halleck right behind him, then Sten Pentus, then Alessandro Latifi further back, but up at the front is the battle between Lamborghini and Mercedes that we saw raging at Brands Hatch. It's continuing here at Zandvoort.
Max Goetz looked to be slightly quicker out of the Tarzan Hairpin than Harry Prochik, but Harry Prochik still has got control of the race. Again, up into Skyflock, you can see Goetz just right up to the rear wing of the Lamborghini, and the Porsche also 4th place, that's up from 6th place.
Bueno, Melnov and Rosina, all drivers we expect to see fighting at the front of the field. They're going side by side down towards the chicane at the Hans Ernst corners, and Melnov holds the inside line and keeps that 14th position for the time being.
And there is another pass. That's Rosina getting past the Ford Tech Mercedes-Benz. First overtake we've actually really seen as a racing pass.
Harry Project doing a good job so far, and there's a look up the lead from Robert Renauer, a look up the inside coming into Hugenholtz, and he gets almost alongside, and in fact, no, sorry, that's the BMW going past Robert Renauer. So how has Thomas Jaeger managed that one? Really impressive move. I thought that was Renauer on the attack, but it was actually Renauer losing the position, and he drops down to 5th place. So great move from Thomas Jaeger to get him into 4th place in the Schubert BMW.
The BMW close to the back of the Audi. I don't think there's a lot of difference in top speed between the Audi and BMW here in Zandvoort. It's more about track position, and Thomas Jaeger again trying to force Enzo Weed into reacting to the moves that the BMW is making.
Yep, great to see that on board with Enzo Weed looking in the mirrors. Which way is he going? Is he going that way? Is he going this way? And the more he focuses on looking in his mirrors, the less he focuses on going forward, which is good news for Jaeger. The battle for the lead is continuing, and the gap is coming down as the pit stop window is about to open. So,
and we're looking to see Jerome Beckerman, and we're going to see, I believe, Harry Project into the pits at the earliest opportunity.
And same for HTP. Looking out the window, I can see Max Buch is ready. So this is going to be a straight pit stop fight, I think, between HTP and Grasser Racing, which could be pretty entertaining. And they will, I think, HTP will know if Bleekemolen gets out in the lead of this race, it's going to be very, very difficult to stop him.
So Harry Project peels off, and does the Mercedes, it stays out.
Oh, okay.
So clear air for Maximilian Buch. They're going to try and pick up maybe half a second on this lap, which may have a bearing in a pit stop. If you see the Enzo, I think Enzo Weed peeled off as well, so the Audi in 3rd place and the leading Lamborghini both in the pit lane. Okay,
so this is a crucially important pit stop, not just for this race, but also for the championship. A good one here could see this car move into the lead. Into the pits comes Enzo Weed, unclips his belts into the pits, into the car will jump René Rast. There is the fast German getting strapped in. Meanwhile, up at Grasser, Bleekemolen's getting strapped in as well. And this looks like a bit of a problem at the pit stop, I think.
It is.
There's a problem at the pit stop for the Grasser Racing team. They're losing all sorts of time, and Enzo Weed is in front of them. The René Rast Enzo Weed car is out in front, and this is great news for the HTP squad. René Rast floors it out of the pits, but they're losing so much time here, the Grasser team. An absolute disaster.
Well, there's a disaster coming behind because the race...
They're behind Stumpf, they're behind Basseng.
Yeah.
They're going to be 10th place at least.
But look skyward, there's a big black cloud at the far end of the circuit, which I believe very shortly will be this. We don't know what went wrong in that pit stop. It just looked as if they just had nothing went right. Nothing went right. The driver change was fine, but the minute they started to try and change the wheel, they may have had a gun problem, which we saw yesterday.
Into the pits now comes Thomas Jaeger and also Cesar Ramos. So Laurens Vanthoor will be taking over from the number 1 Audi. Taking over in the BMW will be Dominic Baumann, and they are in a battle. Well, they were battling with Enzo Weed, weren't they? So that'll be interesting to see where they come out in what is the battle now for 2nd place, essentially, between Enzo Weed and René Rast and that Team Schubert BMW. Also into the pits comes the...
problem in the rear. Is that smoke coming off the left
slow,
rear?
Doesn't it? Well, something has...
I think that left rear is either touching the body. Well, something strange as the car came out of turn 9 up into turn 10. There was apparently smoke coming from the back of the car, but now it seems to be running.
Very close in the pit lane there. We just cut to it as the BMW gets out in front, but up into 2nd place has gone René Rast. So René Rast is in 2nd. It's 3rd place for the BMW, and it's 4th place for Laurens Vanthoor in the 2nd Audi.
Could that be an unsafe release? It looked very close indeed. In fairness, the BMW is the bottom end of the pit lane, and it just pulled out ahead of the Audi, but that will be reviewed.
Now here's the... Oh, he spun it! Bleekemolen spun it!
That's why we saw the blue smoke coming from the rear, and that's Jerome Bleekemolen. What was he getting up to there? Now the tires are cold tires. That's why I saw smoke coming off that left rear. It was the residue of the spin.
Well, into the pits now will come Max Goetz. Yes, so he should emerge in the lead of this race, but let's not discount Rene Rast. If it's not a completely nailed pit stop for HTP, they could lose the lead of the race, because WRT are very, very fast, and Rene Rast has gone purple in the first sector, the fastest first sector of anyone. This is going to be pretty close, I think, for the lead of the race. Everyone else bailing into the pits further back. On board we go with Matthias Stumpf as he pulls in.
And it takes forever, 50 kilometers per hour in the pit lane. Goetz is out. Book gets in. And where is Rene Rast? We're seeing he's now got fastest second sector time. His first sector time has now been eclipsed by Jerome Blancpain, who is recovering from that spin. So Rene Rast effectively is still the quickest car as he comes round the final corner.
Here we go, the Mercedes leaves the pits now, and just about in the lead of the race. I think it's going to be the HTP car. Yes, it is. Rene Rast is in second, but Rene Rast is going very, very fast. Meanwhile, out comes Matthias Stumpf further back. We'll have to wait. Jeroen Bleekemolen's on the pace now, but that spin and that poor pit stop has put them out of contention. But it is Max Buch in the championship leading 84 that is leading the way. There's the Brollies. The Brollies are up here at Zandvoort, and this is going to get very, very interesting indeed.
That's going to mean sodden French fries and oh, look at the race. That is lashing almost 90 degrees to the racetrack on the BMW. We see that view. And this is going to be, yet again, a trip to the pits, unless somebody can brave it out. It will depend just how long and how heavy the rain that's falling started at the beginning of the straight, at the exit of the Arie-Luyendyk curve. There you can see the fans, their umbrellas almost taking off, and the kids, they are loving it. They're having the time of their Sunday lives.
In comes Mateusz Lizowski, and he hasn't stopped.
Now this could be the play of the day, because he may opt, he doesn't have to, but he may opt to put on a set of slick tyres. It would be a high-risk strategy, and I suspect with Daniel Abril getting into the car, they're going to put on a set of wets as the BMW follows in just behind. Pit stop window still open. We've got 2 minutes remaining, and has the rain stopped? It's still still raining on the pit. Yeah, I'm just looking to see it's still raining on the pit lane. Not as heavy as it did on Saturday, but still sufficient to make a wet racetrack. And mandatory lights have got to be turned on.
What tyres? That's the... Oh, I can't quite make it
Can't
out.
work it out. I would have thought if they're going to go safe, which is what they would most likely do, you've got to go with a majority. If you want to go as a punt, take a chance, put on a set of slicks, but it will be quite difficult because it is still raining.
Into the pits comes the number 1 car. Laurens Vanthoor pits from 4th position. Right at the back there in the WRT squad. He's come in and they're surely going to change to wet weather tyres.
They're not ready. They haven't got the tyres prepared. They didn't expect this late cut into the pit lane, so they haven't got the tyres available. Laurens Vanthoor made the decision. He didn't give the time sufficient warning about his impending pit stop, and they're standing there wondering, is this one of our cars?
The WRT Audi squad then.
And he's gone back out. I don't know if he did there, the wets and the pits. He may have been told, get back out there. This rain is not going to last.
The Phoenix Audis are both in as well, I think, below us. Yeah, they're putting wets on both of the Phoenix Audi cars. So this is getting very, very interesting now. This is the 4th position battle coming towards us, and this will be Mateusz Lizowski, Vincent Abril now at the wheel. He looks to the inside line of Nelson Piquet, and he gets the brakes done, and he's got a lot of grip out there. I think those two, the Audi and the BMW, changed to wet at that pit stop, I believe. Oh, here comes Bleekemolen
on slicks, and he almost sideswipes his sister car, which gives him a little bit of room. You can almost see the hand on the Lamborghini 27 turning left hand down to give Bleekemolen the space, who's travelling clearly at a much greater pace. And Bleekemolen has now taken 8th place from that sister car.
So Mateusz Lizowski in 4th place is lapping a second a lap quicker than the race leaders. But if the rain doesn't continue to come, that won't make any difference, as now Jeroen Bleekemolen attacks Nelson Piquet Jr. and cruises past the BMW. Nelson really struggling in these damp conditions. And there is our race leader, and look at the gap. It's come down just 0.4 of a second now between Max Buch and Rene Rast. And on board we go with Rast, down into turn 1, in the battle for the lead of the race. Not close enough just yet.
Again, it's the cutback. Buch holds it down low, trying to get, they've got the Fortec Mercedes, which is coming into play. not a problem, but watch to see René Rast can use the benefits he's had by the Mercedes getting in the way of the race leader, but again Maximilian Buch hogs the inside line into the Hugenholz airport, forces René Rast to rethink how he's going to gain traction. He's got the traction this time, almost as good as it was the lap ago, but again the Mercedes with all the torque and power of that 5.5 litre V8 pulls away sufficiently to give him the advantage as they come up into Sky Block once again.
Here comes the attack from Rast. He's going to have the outside line though as they come down into the chicane, so Buch should still be able to hold the position. Rast is late on the brakes. Can he get around the outside? Yes, he can! Rast takes the lead! Beautiful manoeuvre from the German, and René Rast in the WRT Audi moves into first place. Dominik Baumann is trying to follow as well. The Austrian looks to the outside towards the penultimate corner. Nothing doing there, but what a great move from René Rast.
Let's look again to watch what the car on the inside does. The Mercedes, it takes a massive amount of curb on the inside, which allows Rast the space to make the manoeuvre. He had to take a lot of curb on the inside turning left, but that was done deliberately to enable Rast to have the space in this battle for the lead.
Well, something that I haven't actually mentioned, but these two were champions together back in 2012 in FIA GT3. Max Buch and Dominik Baumann were teammates at Heiko Gravity Charouz. They dominated the championship, won the GT3 European Championship, and now they are going wheel to wheel on the circuit here at Zandvoort, a circuit which they didn't race on that season, but it's great to have them both here in the championship and doing battle.
Yeah, Dominik Baumann has got the quicker package right now, but what he's struggling with is finding the gap, and a run wide for... Oh, that will he's lost it. He spun it. I wondered what went wrong. He got the back end of the car onto the damp bit of the racetrack. I thought, strange line. He can't be trying to keep his slick, dry weather tyres cool. He made an error.
So basically, that means he has lost out third position now, Max Buch, with that slowing. He held the, and here's the battle now going on for, well, that's Jaap van Lagen up into fourth place. He's just taken David Fuminelli, and he's only 2.5 seconds down the road now from Mateusz Lizowski, who we think is still on wet tyres, but Lizowski is lapping reasonably quickly. Jaap van Lagen is lapping a second a lap quicker though, so that could be a battle for third place. What a great result it would be to have the Porsche onto the podium. Now we've got a battle between Peter Cox and someone else disappearing. Oh, it's Stefan Landman. This is over 9th position. Landman holds 9th place at the moment. Peter Cox trying to take it away.
Porsche closing up to the tail of the Audi and will be looking to dive down the inside. Waits this time still, maybe not confident enough. The track is sufficiently dry. Another opportunity will arise now down this brief straight into the chicane. He's going to go the long way around, and he's got the drive off the corner. He probably will have enough of an advantage under brakes to take the lead, and yes, he has.
So Jaap van Lagen goes through up into third position then in the Porsche.
So there is the battle. It is less than 1.2 seconds, which it was as they came across the line, end of lap 26. We've got just under 7 minutes of this battle to go, and it'll be tippy-toe stuff for René Rast, and it's maximum attack from Dominik Baumann in the BMW, and it's always wonderful to be the hunter rather than the hunted.
Here now is Nelson Piquet Jr. trying to pass Mateusz Lizowski. Lizowski's on wet weather tyres, the track is dry, and Piquet cruises through into 8th place. They're getting ready to celebrate on the pit wall. Enzo Eade staring over the gantry. A crazy main race here in Zandvoort. We've had rain, we've had about 4 different leaders, but now we're finally going to have a winner. René Rast exits the final corner for WRT Audi. It's their first main race win of the season. René Rast is victorious in Zandvoort. Enzo Eade delighted on the pit wall. A second place for Team Schubert, for Dominik Baumann, and then a third place for the Porsche as well of Jaap van Lagen and Robert Renauer. So our 2 newcomers finished 2nd and 3rd. There's the Porsche for Team Herbert. 3rd position for them. Talking to them on the grid with John Watson earlier on, and they were saying, we're so far off the pace, we're never going to have a chance of doing anything in this race, but they've come home with a 3rd position. There's Max Buch, 4th across the line. They hold the championship lead. They extend their lead. The results after 31 laps of racing. The win for René Rast and Enzo Eade, 1.3 seconds clear of the BMW from Team Schubert of Thomas Jaeger and Dominik Baumann. Robert Renauer and Jaap van Lagen finishing in 3rd position. Max Goetz and Max Buch in 4th place hold the lead of the championship ahead of Harry Proschek and Jeroen Bleekemolen. And it seemed to be one of those two that would win, but they in the end finished 4th and 5th respectively. Sasha Halleck and Stefan Landman, great result for them in 6th place. Stefan Racina and Peter Cox doing well to finish 7th after Stefan Racina was rally crossing at the start. Hugs all around for Team Schubert, but it's René Rast and Enzo Ede who are victorious. We can hear from them now.
René, congratulations. That was a bit of a masterclass for the young Dominic Baumann behind you.
Yeah, he was very fast at the end. He pushed me quite hard. I tried to just stay on track and go no risk, but he was apparently a bit faster, so I had to go a bit faster as well. But at the end, the track dried up pretty quick, and yeah, we could manage the fast lap times again, and it was a good victory for us. Thank you.
Did you expect a victory today? Because I mean, it was going to be a dry race. Did the rain actually make the difference?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's very difficult to overtake in Zandvoort, and the rain helped for sure to pass the SLS. We didn't know that it's going to be rain, so it was a bit of a miracle for us. But at the end, we were very happy with that. Yeah.
Well, I hope WRT know about Spa in a month's time if it's going to be wet there or not.
I don't know. I mean, for sure, wet would help a bit. Yeah, it's always good for the Audi if it's wet. So let's see.
Thank you. Let's have a look at Enzo. Enzo, you did the opening stint, handed over to René. Quite difficult, you said.
Yeah, it was difficult. I don't know. I had a problem with my front tires, but I had a good start. I moved one position and I was able to keep this position during my stint. So everything went well. In the end, I got a little bit of pressure of the BMW also. So they were really good also, but really happy to win. After Nogaro and Brands Hatch, where we had bad luck, it feels really good to win again here.
Excellent, Enzo. Well done. Thank you.
A very happy Belgian. The gap at the top of the championship is 8 points, the same gap it was as we arrived here in Zandvoort as we move on to the next round. But there you can see Enzo Ede and René Rast. They've moved up into 3rd place in the championship, passing Kaká Bueno and Sergio Jimenez. Another disaster of a race for Cesar Ramos and Laurens Vanthoor means they're now only 5th in the standings for Laurens Vanthoor, the defending champion. Mateusz Lasowski there in 6th position as well. He and Vincent Abril doing a good job. Further down the order you can see Baumann and Jaeger already up to 9th place, having just had one race in the series. Hopefully Robert Renauer and Jaap van Lagen will return for the rest of the year. Jaeger and Baumann have already signed up for the rest of the season. Huub Dubbelman, president of the KNAF, hands over the trophies to Enzo Ede and René Rast as they win here in Zandvoort. And they had a lot of pressure from behind, didn't they, John, towards the end of that race?
Yes.
So join us first weekend of August in the Slovakia Ring. From myself, Jack Nicholls, and John Watson alongside me, thank you for joining us here in Zandvoort. See you in Slovakia first weekend of August.